Hello everyone! Welcome to the Music Grandma channel. My name is Paula and today we will be learning how to play number 1, Waltz in A minor by Esther Abrami. This tune is very suitable for those of you who are in grades 2, 3, or 4 or higher. And it's really a very good tune to start off, getting from that sort of older beginner into the intermediate grades. So you're transitioning, you're not a beginner anymore, you're transitioning into the intermediate. It's a wonderful tune for that. And it's perfect too for introducing you to Chopin's Waltz in A minor, because he does have one. Chopin's Waltz in A minor is considerably more difficult than this one though. But this tune is a really good introduction to that Chopin waltz. Now the other thing I want to talk about is to actually play this tune well, like properly, you really do need 88 keys on your keyboard. If you only have 61 like me, you won't be able to play it. I'm going to show you how you can adjust things to play it with a 61 key keyboard, but even then you'll still have one note at the top missing. But we can work around even that, okay? So I will show you those things a bit later. For now, let's get into learning the tune. Now the sheet music that I'm working on is from MuseScore, the app MuseScore, and it's the one done by Ondine Masso. I think she did a very wonderful job of writing this tune down, and you'll see why in a minute. If you want to look at other people's, if you want to look at other editions of the song, that's fine too. It's all the same. It's just that Ondine Masso's is a little bit more organized, let's say. So before we actually get into learning any of the notes, we are going to analyze the piece, because it may seem very complicated to some of you at first, but it actually isn't, okay? It's not as bad as it looks. It's actually quite easy. So we're going to analyze it and show you the patterns that are in the tune, and I will show you how to learn it so that it's easier than just trying to learn it, all at once. So of course, it's an A minor. So you should really try to figure out what the different minors are, because this tune actually does use all three of the minors. So there's the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. And I'm going to put this video in a playlist along with a video that explains all about A minor and its three forms. So you can, and I'll link them in the description box for you as well, okay? So it helps a lot if you can understand A minor, natural, harmonic, and melodic forms, because that's what the tune is all about. The other thing that you can see from looking at the sheet music is that there are 5 lines. This is why I like Ondine Masso's. She's got it in 4 lines. I think there's a little piece left over on another page, which is one of the things I didn't really like about her edition, but computers are kind of finicky when it comes to editing music, so I'm not going to blame her for that one too much. The main thing is that she's got 5 lines. And the reason that that is good is because this music is like a little story, and it has 5 sentences in the story, and the sentences all match up with the lines. So each line is a sentence of the little musical story. And if you look closer, you'll see that lines 1 and 2 are very, very similar. So if you compare them, they're almost directly below each other. Bar for bar, you can compare and see how similar they are. So we're calling this first sentence A1, and we're calling the second sentence A2. So the whole line, one line is A1, next line is A2. Then there's a break. You can see a double line there. The next three lines are related to one another as well. So we're calling them B1, B2, and B3. But in B1, B2, and B3, they're not as identical as they were up in section A. This B1, yes, it has two phrases. Actually, all the sentences have two phrases of 4 bars each. One phrase and one phrase makes up a sentence. So the first phrase of B1 is here, the second phrase is here. But when we come to B2, they don't exactly match up top and bottom. This first phrase of B2, only 2 bars of it are from 2 bars. So the 2 bars here, and then the next 2 bars are, it's B2 does its own thing right there. And then the next phrase, we will see what happens, is these 2 phrases are not anything alike. But when we come to B3, B3 uses the first 4 bars of B1. So this here is similar to this. And then this is the second 4 bars of B2. Now it's written in a different octave though, so you'll see, if you compare them, you'll see what I mean. So this B1, the first phrase, the first 4 bars, the first phrase, only half of it is in here, but the whole thing is here, only an octave high. This one is 2 octaves higher. Then this second phrase is not really repeated at all. Okay, so the second half of B1 is not really repeated. B2 has its own second half, and that one is repeated here. So you can compare these two, but this B1 is different up here in the second half. But you know, go through it yourself and see, check them all 3, and see what I mean. You'll see what I mean when I tell you that B1 is, you know, that's the first one, so it does its own thing. B2 copies B1 for 2 bars, but then it goes off and does its own thing. And then B3 thinks, oh, I think I'll take half from B1 and the other half from B2. And that's what it does, only it puts it an octave higher. Okay? So this is, so this is how we analyze, chop up. I would have said, I shouldn't really say that, it sounds terrible, chopping something up, but we analyze the music, and it makes it easier to learn, much easier to memorize, and all that jazz. Okay, so now we are going to learn how to play the left hand. The left hand is extremely easy. You know, the chord progressions just repeat and repeat all over the place, and it's very, very easy. So since you're just sort of beginning on your musical journey, not a beginner anymore, but you're advancing a little bit, But maybe you haven't done any analysis of music before, so I'm going to tell you what the chord progressions are. So in the first 4 bars, you're going to start with the A minor. A minor is the first bar. She calls it the second bar. That's because she's using a computer. Normally we would call this bar 1, but don't worry about that too much. Okay, the first set of chords in the left hand, just concentrate on the left hand now. First chords, A minor, and then D minor. Then it goes to G7, and then C major. And when it's a major like that, we just put the letter. We don't bother writing major. So you play this chord in the first bar, this chord in the second bar, third bar, fourth bar. And then the same thing repeats itself over here. So it's easy, nothing new here. G7 and C. Same here. A minor, D minor, G7, C, and again A minor, D minor, G7, C. In the B section, the progression, you can just barely call it a progression because it's only 2 chords repeated over and over and over and over the whole way. All these sections, B1, 2 sections, B2, B3, so 6 sections in all, and it's all A minor, E major, A minor, E major, A minor, E major, A minor. E major, A minor, E major, A minor. Repeat and repeat the whole way till you get to the end, okay? And that's the chord progression. Now I will show you exactly what notes she uses for those chords. Okay. So here we go. And remember, I am on my 61 note keyboard. So that first A is actually supposed to be A1, but I don't have an A1 because it's a 61 note keyboard. A1 would have been over here, okay? So I'm going to use A2. And it doesn't sound quite as good, but it's okay. So we're going to play A by itself, the root of the chord, A, and then the triad. And it's an pa kind of rhythm. We're going to use pa, pa, and D, and G, 7, G7, C. Okay, so the A minor is right here. The D minor is in the second inversion. The G7, we're not playing the G over here. We're playing the G at the bottom, but we're not playing it over here. G7 and C. And the C chord is in second inversion as well. Okay. So don't try to play that very fast. Play it slowly the way I am. Pa, 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 and repeat it until your hand gets to know it without you even looking. You don't even have to look at your hand anymore because your hand knows where it is. And the way the hand remembers things is by playing it slowly and correctly. If you make a mistake, just stop and start again. A minor, papa, D minor, G7, C. So that gets repeated for the first 2 lines. Okay, how about the last 3 lines? We said they were, what did we say? E major and A minor. E is here. And they play that chord, it's actually an E7. Oh, it's an E7, sorry. That's right, I forgot it was an E7. E7, A minor, E7, A minor, E7, A minor. Over and over, play it slowly until your hand gets to really know it. You won't even have to look at it. Your hand knows what to do. And that's how we learn the whole left hand for the entire song. Isn't that easy? I think it is. So now we come to learn the right hand. It's a little bit trickier than learning the left hand, but I don't think it's too difficult for you if you are in grades 2 to 4 or higher. And in the first week of playing the tune, you will only play the first 4 bars of the right hand. You can play the whole of the left hand if you want, but don't play hands together yet in the first week. In the first week, you will play from bar 1 to bar 5 with the right hand, and that's all. Play it over and over until you get it. So let's try that. Your 4th finger is on D, but change it to the 3rd. Stretch to A. Okay, this is the first week's lesson. First week. Second week, you can go on to the next 4 bars. Stretch to G this time. So now we can play the whole 1 line with the right hand. Now we're going to see what differences are in the first and second lines. Now that we've gotten the first line completely done, we will look and see. So the second line actually starts off a little bit different. Instead of going C, B, it goes with a triplet, D, B, C. It's all the same after that. This is the same. And then here is different. So in the middle of it, when it's going from the first phrase to the second phrase, instead of just being C, B, A again, it goes actually C, D, C, B. Okay? So after you stretch to that A, quickly go to the C. And there you have a grace note. If you don't know what a grace note is, you should look it up on Google. There's lots of places that tell you what a grace note is. But it's just something that you play very quickly. Da, da, dum, da, da, dum. And here the ending is not the same. Okay? So the beginning, da da dum. The beginning was not the same, da 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 dum. And then the middle was not the same, da 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 dum. We got a grace note, and then we got a different ending. So there's a couple, more than a couple. What is it? Four different things. The beginning, and then the middle, the grace note, and then the ending. So you have to keep in mind when you play it from line 2, keep in mind those differences. But the thing is, now we've learned the first 2 lines of the song. And the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. Try to, even if you don't practice a lot every day, try to practice every day, 10 minutes maybe. Just play that right hand. Every time you pass the keyboard, sit down and play the right hand. This is how you learn music, okay? Now that whole thing should take you 2 or 3 weeks maybe. So by the 4th week, you should be able to go on to section B. Now you'll notice a strange looking keys. What is the thing with that? Some weird key signatures there. A G sharp and an F sharp. We've never seen a key signature like that before. But it's not a new thing. People have done it before. Just remember that a key signature is there to sort of clean up the music so that there's not sharps all over the place. Instead of writing sharps all over the music, we're going to put the sharps at the beginning of the music, and the musician has to remember what the sharps are. So we have to remember that G sharp and F sharp. So there's no C sharp. It's only G sharp and F sharp. And she got that from the melodic minor. Remember? It has no C sharp, only F sharp and G sharp. And there have been many other, okay, not many, but some other composers have used a key signature like this before. One especially is called Bela Bartok. You might have heard of him. He has used that key signature before, long, long ago. Okay, so now the first phrase of B1 is like a little E major scale. It's not an E major scale, but it starts off as an E major scale, but it doesn't have a C sharp. Okay, so you're going to turn after the 3rd finger, you're going to turn the thumb just as if it was an E major scale. Da 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 dum. On that B, most other people have a mordent. So a mordent now is what? It's one of those musical ornaments that changes a note. So instead of just having B, you're going to play BCB very quickly. BCB. It just makes the music a little more interesting, that's all. So start again. Da 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 dum ba da 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 dum bum bum ba dum. That's your first phrase. So do that in 1 week. The second phrase, stretch for the E, G, and the second phrase. I'm just giving you a week for each phrase because I know some of you don't have as much time, but if you can manage it quicker, you know, go for it. But don't rush yourself at the same time. Don't rush too fast, but don't feel like you have to go slower than you need to. And if you don't have much time and you go even slower than 1 week for each phrase, that's all right. You're going to get there eventually, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, so now let's go on to B2. Line 4 is B2. Starts off the same as B1, except instead of going to E, it goes to C. Okay, let's start again. And then it repeats that little thing, B, A, C. Okay. Okay, that's not the end of the phrase. There's one more bar. Repeat the B, A, C. And then change to the fourth finger, B, A, E. That's the end of the phrase there. Okay. Let's play that phrase again. Change to fourth. Now, line 4, the second half of line 4, she's going to use a really big kind of chord. So you got to really stretch your hands. If your hands are small, you might have to make a little bit of effort to go, but it's okay. You know, just try your best. So we're going to see how much stretching that is. And it's like an E major chord added to a B diminished chord, or the upper part of it, your G7. Your G7 is like, but we're not playing G7, we're not playing the G because we have a G sharp. So it's E major and B diminished, or you can think of it as the upper part of G7. Da 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 da. Okay, so you're stretching to get to that F, and then change fingers because you got to get to the A. And that's the second half. So now you basically know B1, B2, and B3, because B3 is, like we said before, the first half of B3 is the same as the first half of B1. The second half of B3 is the same as the second half of B2. So if we know B1 and B2, then we know B3. It's just at a different octave. So it's this will be E5. Da 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 dum ba dum. Be dum bum dum ba dum ba da da da. The same chord. Now I run into trouble because I don't have D7. D7, B, A. If you don't have D7, you can play D6. Da 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 da. Or you could just leave it out altogether. Da-da-dum. If you have 88 keys, you will have all the notes you need, but on a 61-note keyboard, you won't have them all. Okay, so that's how you learn the whole entire thing. And that should take you about 5 or 6 weeks. It depends on who you are, right? If you're a fast learner, you might take less. But I'm thinking that 5 or 6 weeks for an average person is pretty good. And once you get to know your right hand very well, you can start playing the tune together. Okay, so if you go along like that, you should be able to learn this tune and play it like up to speed in about 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, something like that. The trick to it is, well, there's 2 tips I have for you. Listen to the recording quite often. You get it into your head that way. So when the tune is in your head, you're more likely to play it properly, right? Okay, the other thing is practice at least 6 times a week, if not 7. Some people say it's good to have 1 day off a week. I think I agree with that, actually. So let's say 6 times a week you're practicing your tune. Make sure you practice at least 10 minutes on this every day. So make sure you practice every day for about 10 minutes on just this one tune. You can also practice the 3 A minor scales. That will also sort of get it into your brain. And another tip that I have for practicing is to always record yourself. You know, everybody's got a phone nowadays, and the phone always has a voice recorder on it. That's all you need. You don't need fancy recording equipment. Record yourself playing the tune and listen back and see what you're doing. Is it sounding good? How can I improve myself? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comment section. I'm happy to answer questions that you might have. That way we can all benefit from learning the tune and, thinking about difficulties that some people have, difficulties that another person might not have. But we can still learn. Even if you're having a difficulty, the rest of us can also learn from your difficulty. So don't be shy. Don't feel like you're asking there's no such thing as a dumb question. Just ask, and I will answer. Okay, so happy practicing. Don't forget to record yourself. Don't forget to practice every day. Well, take 1 day off. Practice 6 days a week. And listen to the recording of the music. Maybe not every single time you practice, but as much as you can, listen to the recording. Those are 3 things that will definitely help you. Oh, and the other one is playing the scale that goes with the tune, yeah. So 3 scales. You can actually practice the scales first. Practice the 3 scales first and then play the tune a couple times, 2-3 times. Play the scale, the tune, I mean. and record it, listen back, and criticize yourself. This is one time I really encourage you to criticize yourself as hard as you can, because that's how you're going to get better. And okay, so that's it. I think we will end here. Yes, so I'm going to make a playlist with this video in it, and I will put in how to play the A minor scale in 3 forms, and I will also put in some more advanced notes about the tune, because there are certain things that you could learn. I tried to make this lesson a bit simpler, but, you know, there are more advanced things that you could learn from this tune, and I will put them in that 3rd video, and all 3 of them will be together in their own little playlist. All right? So look out for that. It may not be up yet, but it will be soon. Okay, talk to you again next time. Take care. Happy practicing. Bye.